Today I'm going to show you how to create a budget using the fiscallens.com budgeting tool. First, you're going to want to go to fiscallens.com and log in. If you have not yet subscribed, you'll need to go up to the blue subscription button, which will take you to the subscription page. And as you can see, you get a 3-day free trial, and then it's $4 per month after that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going into the details of fiscallens.com, but it's a great tool. It includes 3 applications: a budgeting application, an investment tracking application, and then finally a retirement planning application. But today we're going to focus on the budgeting piece. So once you've subscribed, you'll log in, and that's going to take you to the application section, and it's going to take you to the general input section where you're going to enter your birth date, and you can enter your spouse's birth date. That's optional for the budgeting piece, but if you're going to create a retirement plan, this birth date is important for the Social Security calculations within the retirement plan. But if you're just going to budget, or you're just going to start with budgeting, then you don't need to enter your spouse's birth date. You'll enter your checking balance at the end of last year. This is used to start the January balance for the current year. So it can be an estimate. You can put in 0 if you don't want it to start with any sort of balance. You can put in a negative number. But this is the starting point for your budget. Your budget will start in January of the current year. You don't have to do that. You can start it in whatever month you've subscribed. So in this example, we could start our budget in August. But if you do that, you won't be able to take advantage of the federal tax estimate that the application provides you for the current year, since you're only entering a portion of the year's information. And we'll get into that in more detail in a minute. Your monthly P&I payment, if you have a mortgage. If you don't, there's a rent line in the budget that you'll see. So you would just put zeros in this section or leave it blank. It may require you to enter zeros. We'll see. But anyway, in this example, I'm going to put in a mortgage payment. For the monthly HOA, for the non-P&I piece, if you escrow these items, you'll be able to look at your monthly statement and see how much per month is escrowed. If you don't escrow, then you can either add up the annual amounts for these 3 items and divide by 12, or you'll have an opportunity within the budgeting screen itself to put these in the months that you're paying them. If you're going to use the retirement portion of fiscallens.com, you're going to want to go ahead and add these up and divide by 12, because this number will be used throughout the retirement period, and it doesn't do monthly budgets for retirement. It's just an annual plan. So you go ahead and enter these and divide by 12. I'm going to just put in 800. Beginning loan amount, let's say it's 500,000. The home purchase price was 700,000. Origination date, let's say 06/05/2020. Terms 30, and let's say you were still lucky enough to get a good interest rate. And then the alimony section, if you pay alimony, you would enter that information here. I'm going to assume for right now that you don't. So now we're going to go and we're going to say that we're married, and we're going to take the standard deduction. If you itemize, you'd select itemize, and then you would put in whatever your itemized amount is. If you pay state taxes, this is where you would put in your state tax rate. So let's just suppose that I do. Estimated tax credits. So if you bought a EV or you have child care credits, there's several federal credits that you may or may not be eligible for. So let's just say we have $1,000 federal tax credit, and then non-employer IRA, HSA contributions. If you pay this through your employer, you would enter 0 here because that's all taken into account in the pay section of the application. But if you have a IRA outside of your employer, you would go ahead and put the contribution here because that's non-taxable dollars. So let's just say that we're saving $10,000 a year. And then let's say you have a capital loss carryover of, let's say we have a capital loss carryover of $3,000. So then you're going to hit save, and you've finished with the general input portion. It'll take you back up to your applications menu where you're going to start by entering your pay. Now, the first time you do this, it's going to populate all the months for you, and then you can just overwrite if you're going to get a bonus or something that you want to put in the salary line. There's other places to put bonuses, but anyway, let's just say that we make $5,000 a month. You hit tab and you can see it populates every month, and then you have the ability to overwrite any of those fields. Let's say you get a $2,000 bonus in December and you want to put that there. Then for your 401k contributions or your pre-tax deductions, those will all be entered as positive numbers. So let's say that we save $400 per month for 401k, and then we pay our portion of the healthcare benefit is $200 a month. And then you're going to put in your federal withholding. So let's just say that I'm withholding $1,000 a month. And then if you have a second income, spouse income, whatever the case might be, you would put it here. I'm going to say no for now. But let's say you have some non-taxable income, that's not a part of your pay here. You could put that here. If you have taxable income, you're over 59.5 and you're pulling money out of an IRA, you put that here. And then any federal withholding, but I'm not going to populate the whole thing. And then for 2024, if you don't anticipate, or even if you do anticipate changes, the easiest way to recreate the 24 budget is to go ahead and put copy 2023. It puts all the information in, and then you could do it that way. If you anticipate that you're going to get a raise, rather than having to say, okay, now I'm going to 5,200 and having to key that in all the way across, you could have just input 5,200 in January of 2024, and it would have pre-populated 5,200 across. So if you anticipate a lot of changes between 23 and 24, it's going to be easier for you to probably key into January the numbers, so you don't have to do what I'm doing here and key all the way across the fields. Once you've keyed in the numbers for the first time, it will not auto-populate across the year. That would be frustrating if you were only trying to change January, for example. So anyway, once you have this set, you're going to hit save, and then you're going to go to your expense input. And this is where same deal, $500 auto payment, auto insurance, I'm paying $200. Credit cards, I pay, generally $1,000 a month. Electric, gas, $100. Internet, TV, $100. And then these are these other fields I was telling you about. If you would rather, for your non-principal and interest expenses associated with your home, if you want to put in, you could put in HOA fees here, and you just go to the month that you pay your HSA, or maybe you pay them quarterly, and you say, okay, 100, 100, 100, and then 100. And then so these are fields that you can add anything you want to, really. And then if you don't have a mortgage, here's your rent field, and then water and garbage, whoops, say 100, and wireless 100. And then once again, let's say I don't anticipate many changes. I'm going to go ahead and copy. And then you can go in and you can customize these fields. You know, let's say you're going to do 1,200 in credit cards. But you can obviously change these as you go throughout the year and your budget needs to change. So this is just the initial creation, and then you edit it as your budget changes throughout the year. So we've done that. Now we're going to go to output. So you can see where we put input. Now this is the tool I was alluding to earlier. This really tells me that I'm over withholding by $9,500. And since I'm sitting in August right now, you know, and I look at, okay, my federal tax from this point forward, I'm paying, you know, $1,000 a month. I would go back to my income, and I'd be telling my employer, okay, I want my withholding to go to 0 from this point forward, because I know I'm over withholding. So if you hit enter, it's going to save your data, or you can go down and hit the save button. Then you go back to your output, and you'll be able to see that federal withholding estimate's now $5,500, which is still a little high. So you can look at other things, you know, to change that number. But we're just going to, for the purposes of this demonstration, say we're going to get a $5,500 return. Here are all your expenses. Now it shows you that in this particular case, what I've keyed in, I'm generating $2,000 per month more in expenses than I have in income. So this is not a good budget. This shows that I'm going to, by the end of December, I'm going to have a deficit of $18,000 for the year. So, you know, in this scenario, we either don't have enough income or we're spending too much. So you look at your discretionary expenditures here. Now I did double dip because I put in on the general input screen, I put in HOA and property, and then I turned around and put in here for demonstration an HOA fee of $400. So that's $400 in savings right there, just a mistake that I made intentionally for this demo in the expenses. But in order to balance this budget, you know, there's a couple things here that I would be looking at. The very first thing, obviously, is credit card. You know, so in this particular example, which is probably not a great example, but you'd have to zero out your $12,000 in credit card expense, and that would bring this closer to being on budget. Not realistic. You know, someone in this situation is overextended. Chances are they're going to continue to overextend on their credit cards. This would be referred to as a bad budget. So this person would be overextended. Hopefully that's not an example of anybody watching this video, but this is what people should be looking at. Then same problem here in 2024. I'm over withholding, and I'm running a budget deficit, and it does carry over from here. This $18,000 at the end of the year is going to carry over here. So it's the 18 plus the 21 that you're continuing to run. But once again, in this particular example, I'm over withholding by $9,300. So, you know, I would go back in my income input. I would go to 2024, and I would change, in this case, my withholding to 0. Or actually, that would mean I would owe, so let's just say I change it to 200. Hit save. Go back to my output. And now you can see that's a really good target. I owe $248, so I don't mind writing a check for $248 in 2025 when my taxes are finished. And once again, this is a high level estimate. There are a lot of other things that would impact your tax bill, but this at least gets you in the ballpark when you're doing your budget to figure out, am I over withholding or not withholding enough? If you have complicated taxes, you're going to want to consult with your tax advisor on what you should withhold and work with that individual, but a handy tool to be able to estimate. So, when I look at the $18,000 deficit I'm bringing into 2024, I'm at 32. So I'm still, you see all this red, and I did increase my credit card. So let's just say that, I'm going to control my credit card spending in 2024. So once again, I'm going to go to expense input, and rather than the $1,200, I'm going to say I'm going to get that down to $300. Hit save. Go back to output. So now I've got my monthly deficit down to $400. So I've created a plan here that shows bad plan in 2023, better plan in 2024, but still you're going to have to ask yourselves, in this particular situation, you've gotten yourself into trouble because you've probably got more of a mortgage than you can afford given the income here. So anyway, once again, I did this very quickly, just pulling numbers out of my head. Hopefully your budget looks a lot better than this. If you have any questions about this video, please feel free to hit me up on my YouTube channel, Fiscal Lens. If you can also ask questions right through Fiscal Lens, either in the contact questions section, where you can submit those questions directly to me, or go to the users forum and you can do a post and ask the question of other users. So anyway, that's it for now. I hope you all enjoy the website and this video, and I appreciate your time. Thanks.